Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys to nerds, back for our favorite segment, Topical Thursday. Every Thursday, moving forward, every single darn one. I think there's 52 of them in a year. Haven't seen a calendar in a while, but...
Leap year, 53 this year.
53. So
Wow.
we have 53 pure episodes of content, minus, I don't know, how far are we into the year?
What if there's a holiday
20
on a Thursday?
Oh,
Do we work?
We still do it. That's how much we care.
We'll come in.
That's how much we care. So I have, obviously, Brian with me. Say hello.
Yo.
Mark, I was hesitant to bring you back because I don't like you,
Hi, Kevin.
but you're here.
Kevin and Mark do their own show.
We actually sent Mark on a paid vacation, and the whole point was he was not supposed to come back. So my whole plans have kind of spiraled out of control.
I'm back.
But I think it's an interesting topic what we wanted to bring up this week. I mean, we're all big movie buffs. Would you say that's pretty fair?
Yeah, I mean, Mark and I definitely are. Kevin, I don't know.
I'm definitely a more casual movie
Kevin, I don't
viewer.
know anything that you like, so
Yeah, well,
you're not very vocal
There's
about
a-
your opinions.
there are a list of a few. But yeah, we wanted to sit down and talk about movies. Have you ever had an experience where you were watching a movie, and then all of a sudden you're like, Jesus Christ, what did I just watch? Has that ever happened to you?
Definitely. Many, many times.
Once or twice.
Let me reiterate, we're not necessarily saying, my God, this is a piece of garbage movie you can't watch.
Right.
But just a disgusting,
specific
nasty
scenes,
scene
right?
that's
Yeah.
literally hard to watch. So we're going to have that conversation today. We all came up with a list, a couple options, and I think we're going to have a good conversation of why it's so gross, how it affects the rest of us, and what do you guys think at home? Are we just being giant babies about it, or what? So, Brian, why don't you start us off with one that you find particularly grotesque?
Yeah, so one I'm going to start with is one that has always had an effect on me just because I saw it when I was younger on television, and it's in the movie Misery, where James Caan is a writer, and he is trapped there by this woman in order to write another book, a sequel to a book that she loves, and she's obviously insane, and she has trapped him in the bed, and to stop him from escaping, she hobbles him. So on screen, she takes a hammer and breaks both of his legs.
That's a gruesome
On the
scene.
bed.
Every time I watch it.
Can you demonstrate exactly what you mean on Mark right now?
Yeah. No, I won't do it.
I actually, now that I
Thanks.
didn't, Brian went over this list with me, and I hadn't think I'd seen that movie just based on the title, but now that you're describing the scene, I definitely see it on the, oh my God, that's nasty moment countdown.
It's just, I mean, you're not quite sure the first time you see it, you're not quite sure what she's going to do with the hammer when she walks over to him. Like, oh man, is she going to kill him? Like, what's going on here?
Is it a
And then-
hammer or is it like a sledgehammer?
It's like a sledgehammer
Yeah, it
type
was
deal.
like a
It's like a
big
wooden
hammer.
mallet almost, like a cartoon. I mean, it's not that big, but like, yeah, she just goes and she snaps both of his legs.
It was made by Acme, the same one that...
Yeah, Wile E. Coyote.
That's definitely, I do know that one. One of the ones that I wanted to bring up, I'm sure you guys have all seen Terminator.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great movie. There's a specific scene after his eyeball gets all messed up that he rents a little Motel 6 Holiday Inn room, just pops it down, takes a little scalpel, pops that shit out, and to this day, like, I look back on that scene and it's kind of cheesy now when he's just popping out his eyeball with a razor blade, but it doesn't look as bad now. But I remember as a kid, I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, that's disgusting. Imagine if you were the cleaning lady that had to come in the next day. How would you react to that?
I wouldn't be happy. I would want a raise or like time and a half. I would want something.
It's nasty. And then, I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, you get to see his laser eye after, but that movie really, ugh. That's how I feel about that. Ugh.
Terminator has a lot of, I mean, just the series in general, just because I remember specifically in 2, when he starts getting parts of him blown off, like the skin.
Are you talking about like when he cuts his own arm off?
Yeah,
and
it's just like there's
yanks
a
it
lot
off?
of Terminator that, because Arnold and most of the villains are the robots that have this human skin exoskeleton type deal, that when that stuff gets like destroyed or shot or stabbed, it's really disgusting.
Speaking of T2, you remember that scene where he's copying the T-1000 is copying the security officer in the insane asylum, and he pokes him right through his eyeball? I thought that was fucking gross too. Eyes, man. Eyes get me every time.
I could always deal with robot stuff because it's like robots. It's not like humans.
Yeah, but when you're 10 though.
When you're 10, that's a little bit scary. My choices for today, I can stomach almost anything. Even when I was a kid, I can do horror movies, but now I'm fine with it. But there was one movie, The Brown Bunny, in 2003. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
I've heard of it.
Like Vincent Gallo, quick background, showed it at Cannes. People walked out because It is a fairly decent film, but the last 10 minutes or so, and this is real, Vincent Gallo, who directed, starred, produced it, did everything in it possible. He made his co-star, Chloe Sevigny. I know I butchered that name.
I think you did. I think it's Savigny. I don't know. That's not right.
Yeah, that's probably it.
He made her on screen perform an act of fellatio. And I couldn't... I can't really look at that because I'm thinking to myself, that poor girl, she's like in so many other things. She was on Big Love, she's in other movies, and she's doing this, and she's going to be remembered for this. And it wasn't really that flattering to look at.
A little background on that, and I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they were dating at the time. So that kind of...
I feel like that doesn't make it better.
No.
I'm not saying it makes it better, but it's not like he forced some Hollywood actress to... So it was his girlfriend, and I'm pretty sure they filmed it with just them in the room. I'm just saying, again, I've seen it on countdowns, I've seen the movie, I've seen it.
I think it was rumored, and I think there was a thing, I don't know, but it is weird because she knows that people are going to see it forever and of all time.
They're definitely going down the artistic stretch to the... You know what I mean?
And then another one...
did I say I wanted to, Mark? Did I say that I wanted to?
I'm going to give you two.
He's just gone.
Human Centipede. Human Centipede.
Oh, are you going to talk about the excretion scene?
No, I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff. Just the whole concept in general. I see 1 and 2. I know the third is on Netflix. I'm not going to see it. Number 2, that was one of the few films I've ever had to fast forward through because all the stuff that goes down, I couldn't do it.
It's pretty grotesque. I mean, the thing about those movies are they weren't trying to make good movies. Like,
no, they weren't.
It's like, you know what I mean? Once like Sharknado, movies like that, they start to pick up steam. They're like, oh, let's just make it worse and worse every time because people are still going to watch it. So I think all the other movies we've mentioned have actually been like obviously straight up attempts to make a good movie. Even that one's just, I don't want to even say garbage, but
another one clearly for shock value.
It's shock value, of course. Another one I saw recently, The Lobster.
Going for 3.
The Lobster, critically acclaimed movie of this year. Had some pretty messed up parts during that.
Give me a synopsis.
All right, it's an alternate society where if you're not with someone, you have to go to a retreat for 45 days, and after 45 days, if you don't find someone, you turn into an animal. That's about it. And there's stuff with the plot and all that.
How many of us would be animals right now?
Oh,
what animal
absolutely.
Would you... When you say animal, does it have to be straight up like an animal that's actually still alive today, or could you potentially be a Tyrannosaurus Rex?
Well, not giving anything away, but Colin Farrell chose a lobster because it had the longest lifespan.
What do you mean you're not giving anything away? You just told us. All right, Brian, do you have another one on the list?
I do. And,
let's do a couple. We'll bust them down.
Yeah. All right, so the next one I want to talk about is in the movie Prometheus. And I feel like just saying that and an uncomfortable scene, you can probably guess where I'm going. So, like as in Terminator, the Alien franchise has had these moments of like, oh, wow, that's really shocking. But Prometheus really broke the mold in terms of like things I don't want to watch. The main character... basically, she gets infected, and she sleeps with her boyfriend who is infected with this alien disease.
Otherwise known as an ATD, alien transmitted disease.
There it is. Wow.
That was a real
you don't want that. There is no cure.
Yeah, there isn't. So basically, she becomes pregnant over the course of this movie, and she realizes that what's inside her is, a creature, something that has killed her boyfriend and is killing other people. So she gets into, I don't know, it's like a med pod of some kind, and she basically performs a cesarean on herself in this med pod thing, and they show the entire thing. They show it slicing her open. They show them pulling the alien, which looks like a little baby squid octopus, like a demon thing. Yeah,
like in Men in Black,
exactly.
But not as good.
Out of her, and then they staple it back up, and then she's like bleeding, and she's like screaming, and then she walks out, and then she continues to run away from the thing that's trying to kill her. It's just really awful.
I think we can all agree that human birth is fucking gross. So
alien, human, just gross.
Sure. It's nasty. I think we should stop reproducing. I don't know, humans, aliens.
Right?
No
Dogs,
discrimination
cats.
here.
No, of course not. And then, kind of building off that, my other one is in the movie Sin City. There is a lot of messed up stuff
Yeah,
in Sin City.
that movie is.
I know what you're talking
that
about
movie
right off
is
the bat.
So
yeah.
dark.
Yeah, Mark already knows where I'm going because
Would it be funny if he didn't because he's stupid?
Yeah. Elijah Wood plays a character that's like
Kevin.
very devoid of emotion. He's like a murderer. He's like a serial killer, rapist. He's something awful, and he never shows any emotion at all. So one of our hero characters, hero being an operative term, catches Elijah Wood and straps him to a tree. Yeah, Marv. And in order to gain information out of him, he decides he's going to torture Elijah Wood by having dogs.
Wait, doesn't he cut his legs off first, and then the dogs go to work?
Is that what it is? Yeah, it's something like, he's trying to gain information and torture this guy.
And he's just smiling the whole time.
Right, so Marv cuts his legs off, and then a bunch of dogs come, and they start to literally eat Elijah Wood.
And then inevitably cuts his head off.
Right.
When he's had enough.
Right, because Elijah Wood, again, it shows no emotion, shows no sign of pain or remorse.
I feel like
it's
he does
very
show...
disturbing.
I think there's another part where he does either shoots or rips out his groin area.
He that's the yellow man. He
Man.
literally rips his balls off. Literally rips his balls off.
That's Nate Spall, whatever his name is.
Anyway.
He was in T3.
I agree. Dog scenes are messed up. I would say some dog movies that I think are really freak me out. They may not be scary, but they freak me out. I don't really like feral dogs. So have you ever seen Resident Evil?
I played Fallout 3.
But there are feral.
Basically the same.
There are feral dogs in them. They always scare the shit out of me. But just eating people alive, I think Django Unchained was pretty gross. There's that one scene.
Oh yeah, with D'Artagnan.
With the slave that's trying to escape, and he sicks his dogs on him, and it's pretty gruesome to watch because they're not just eating him; they're tearing him
apart, and they also call it back. If you remember at the end with Christoph Waltz, he's remembering it over Beethoven, and he starts to kind of lose it, and that's really what sets him off there. But yeah, it's awful.
Do you have any other movies on your list?
There's the hammer scene in Drive. You remember that when Ryan Gosling is beating the shit out of someone with a hammer. It's very visceral. There's blood spatter. It's really gross.
That poor Carey Mulligan.
Yeah. The curb stomp in American History X is one that always kind of gets brought up. Kevin and I were talking about this.
I don't think it's that bad.
Right. Because you were saying, like, the act is, of course, bad, but you were also saying...
Thinking about what's going to happen to it, obviously, disgusting, nasty, but the way they filmed it, how they slowed down the pace, the angle...
drawn out to get that out of you.
The angle that they shot, I didn't find it unbearable to watch. A couple other ones on my personal list is there's a Saw. I think it's Saw 2. Again, going back to
all Saws.
I think it's going back to the eyes. They hid a key behind somebody's eyeball or something. Yep. So they cut out his own fucking eye. Are you kidding me? Like, Jesus, who thinks of that shit?
Yeah, and then there's later...
Well, that's the game. He had to do it.
I mean...
I want to play a game.
Right.
I want to play a game.
And so I feel like Saw always tries to top themselves in those movies. They're always trying to get past, like, oh man, remember when we hit a key in someone's eye? And then they
in one of the movies too, there's two giant ice blocks dangling, and they fall down and smash somebody's head. Fucking Donnie Wahlberg, officially Boys to what's he from? Not Boys to Men.
He was not.
Yeah, he was a New Kid on the Block.
Same thing.
There was a fourth or fifth one where some guy was like at the end of the movie was climbing up on the side, and the guy's like safe in the tomb, and the walls are closing in on him, and they're literally crushing him.
Yeah,
it's pretty gross. The only other one that really comes to mind that to this day I can't watch this scene. I think we've all seen this movie. Not a very liked movie, I will say, but X-Men 3, The Last Stand. There's the whole point of the movie is to talk about the mutant cure and introducing that storyline. And Angel, as a kid, we get to see him trying to hide his mutant powers, and he literally has a fucking file, and he is shaving down his wings to where the feathers and blood are all... Ugh.
It's honestly like to the bloody stumps of his back. It's disgusting just even talking about it. And it doesn't make that movie any better. It certainly makes it so much worse.
That's how I feel right now. Ugh.
Yeah, it's awful.
The only other TV scene, and I'm not going to do any spoilers, but if you're a Game of Thrones fan, if you've seen Season 4, Episode 8, The Mountain versus the Viper, the very last scene is the most intense I've ever felt in any television watch. Oh my God, the anxiety I was getting in that scene, The Mountain versus the Viper. Gee, if you've seen it, you know exactly how it ends, and you probably like... Oh my God, when you saw it. And the only other one that comes to mind, this one isn't scary, but I just feel bad, and it came out of nowhere. Do you remember the classic movie, put up right up there with Jaws 2, Are there any other good shark movies?
Jaws 3.
Jaws 3.
Just for
3.
the revenge of
The
Michael
Revenge.
Caine.
You could put it up. You could put it right up there with all of those movies.
It's personal.
You could put it right up there with all those movies. But Deep Blue Sea, remember that movie?
Yep.
Sure. Had Tom Jane. And that's all I can remember.
LL Cool J.
LL Cool J. Anyway,
Yep.
there's a scene where Sam Jackson is giving a motivational speech when they're trapped underwater. Then all of a sudden, a fucking shark comes out of nowhere and just bites his ass and drags him down to
That's one of my
watery
favorite deaths.
grave.
in
It's
a
just
movie.
out of nowhere. Do you have any more? Or are we good?
Now, in Jaws, the shark jumps up on the orca as well, the ship, and like, can sharks jump? Like, 'cause I'm really nervous about if I ever go on a boat that I'm gonna die in a terrible
Well, I
fashion.
don't think that boat was that big though. So
No, like the orca wasn't big, and Jaws is obviously huge, but like that shark like rockets out of the water in Deep Blue Sea.
can I? If you were an actor, and I realize it's a very contained environment.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they still shot that movie Jaws like in the ocean.
They did.
with
Yeah.
mechanical sharks and stuff
They
that
did.
Yes.
you could fit into them. Would you still be pissing your pants if you were in that, even though it's a
Oh yeah,
fake
the behind
shark?
the scenes of that scene when the shark is on there, like the boat is still like going into the water, and it's still like a mechanical shark that I'm sure the teeth aren't like soft.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's like some kind of metal or plastic. Like yeah, I wouldn't want to end up in there.
Just saying, even the scene. I just wish it was filmed in a contained environment like Titanic in a fucking pool. or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
Like,
Pirates of
Jesus,
the Caribbean, a
I'm
big
not brave.
water tank.
I would not be able to be an actor.
No, that'd be honestly terrifying.
No.
Sharks are awful.
Have you ever seen the movie Open Water?
Sure.
Very
Yeah.
similar thing. I don't know where it's filmed. I'm just assuming. I'm assuming it wasn't filmed in the middle of the ocean. But I'm just saying that concept, just kicking, freestyle for hours, and just in an openless pit where sharks are bumped. No, thank you. No thank. I'd rather be eaten by a lion any day of the week. All right. Well, this has been the Boys to Nerds Topical Thursday. Make sure you check out past episodes, future episodes, but you should probably wait till the future to check those out. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook. Next season 2, coming back at the end of July, right?
I mean, we hope.
Probably.
We hope, right? If we can
Who cares?
get Mark, if we can finally get Mark to sign his contract after all his crazy demands. But make sure you check us out.
I
like
want all the red Skittles.
And that's Emperor Mark to you.
make sure
Mark.
that
I want a name change.
Make sure you check out Boys to Nerds featuring Emperor Mark, the Grand Supreme Ruler of His Majesty's butt. Coming up this season on Boys to Nerds. Thanks. Bye. I'm done now. It's over. Goodbye.